Hello and welcome to round 14 of Grand Prix Providence. Maria Bartholdi in the booth alongside Marshall Sutcliffe, the final round of Swiss, and we are watching a win and in. Marshall, both teams at 11-2. The Peach Garden Oath versus Stanley Pace, Jared Calabrese, and Byron Wilkins.
So this is going to be an interesting one because this is the culmination of a really great run by Peach Garden Oath today, as they did come into the round, into the day on 7-2, meaning that they had no losses to give, and they have thus far given none. Also, they've taken a pretty radical approach to their deck builds for this time. Maybe it was just the pool, maybe it was a strategic decision, but all three are playing aggressive decks, and quite aggressive too.
Yeah.
It's red-white, red-black, and you see here the tempo-based kind of aggressive Merfolk deck from Owen Turtenwald that's blue-green.
And you can see Turtenwald getting off to a blazingly fast start here with a Siren Storm Tamer and a Merfolk Branch Walker, revealing a River Herald's Boon, which he's going to put in the bin. But it looks like Stanley Pace is going to keep pace here. River Sneak out on turn 2, which is a terrific little attacker in a Merfolk deck. Is unblockable, gets +1/+1 whenever a Merfolk enters the battlefield under your control. Swinging in now for 1. So it looks to be like this game could be an all-out race between two Merfolk decks.
Yeah, it could be, and you got to like Turtenwald's position here early, though. That's a pretty nice little play there from Stanley. He's going to get a card and chip in there for a damage as well.
Stormfleet Spy. Impressive little 3-drop. It's been really neat to be able to watch Peach Garden Oath today making a run for it here at day 2. Coming in, must win every single round. It's kind of a daunting task, especially when you're playing against the best players in the room. Chart, of course, here from Turtenwald will draw 2 cards. Because of raid, he will not have to discard. Looking for a land. Yeah,
he's looking for lands here, and this is a potentially big problem here for Owen, because while Chart, of course, is an okay card later in the game in an attacking deck, it's cheap. It lets you draw a couple of cards after an attack and then maybe even play a 2 or a 3-drop. This isn't really the primary use for it in his deck, which is to try to get him out of trouble. And this could give Stanley the breathing room that he needs to help stabilize. I mean, he has 7 cards in his hand here. He just needs to start deploying them.
Stanley here attacking with both creatures for 3. Dropping Owen down to 16, Stanley on 15. Follows it up with a Deep-Root Waters.
Wow, this is the first time I've seen this card in play.
Talk about going deep. Every time you play a Merfolk spell, you get a 1/1 hexproof Merfolk.
Yeah, you get a little token out of the deal. And that thing can get out of control, but it's slow. Like, as you see, he effectively took this turn off.
Yeah, he did.
He just did nothing. But watch next turn. He might be able to play, say, 2 Merfolk and get a couple of those tokens and really gum up this board.
Yeah, it double pumps his River Sneak as well if he's able to play 2 Merfolk. Pounce, though, gonna take care of that.
Not anymore.
Deep-Root Champion in play there for Turtenwald. Got in for an attack for 3, dropping Pace down to 11. Deep-Root Waters, of course, a way to help rebuild your board as well. I've played against it a number of times. I actually played against somebody who had 2 Deep-Root Waters in a draft.
Was that good or bad? I mean, honestly,
it was very good.
Oh, it was good?
Yeah.
Okay. They must have been just all Merfolk.
They were all Merfolk, all in, and just to rub it in, they had Arcane Adaptation as well. So it was very silly. Deshauna's Wayfinder is going to go exploring, finds an island. Remains a 2/2. But we did get a 1/1 Merfolk out of the deal there from that Deep-Root Waters. Passes back to Turtenwald.
Still, Owen really trying to capitalize on that lack of tempo there from Stanley by casting the Deep-Root Waters while keeping a pressure on from Owen's side. But, enough of those 1/1s, and that could certainly slow things down in a very significant way here.
Speaking of Peach Garden Oath, building all aggressive decks, blazingly fast win as William Huey Jensen racks up the first game win for Peach Garden Oath.
And we're not surprised about that, right? The red-black deck, just bang, 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 you're dead.
Yep, basically. River Sneak of his own here for Turtenwald will swing with the team.
Now, the fact that he played it pre-combat, let's see, that didn't trigger anything, right?
No.
Kind of interesting. It shows that he might have River Herald's boon and maybe just wants to keep the River Sneak as a potential second target as well as something in combat. Owen's a very precise player, so seeing him play it in the first main phase should kind of raise the eyebrow from Stanley Pace, who says,
I want you to guess how many River Herald's boons Owen has.
2?
4. 4.
Oh.
And sure enough, there's a look at it on screen, and I think I see one in his hand. Giant frog looming in the background. Yeah, River Herald's boon has been just so impressive all weekend. Cheap, effective, helps your merfolk get through. All right, we've got a Shaper Apprentice here from Turtenwald, which will be a 2-1 flyer thanks to the other merfolk in play. Passes back over to Stanley.
Stanley really taking on a lot of risk here with the no blocks, and this did not work out well for him either.
Drops to 5.
Yeah, now Owen has 2 different evasive threats, or I should say 3 different evasive threats. And currently no flying on the other side of the battlefield from Stanley.
Reed Duke, by the way, also picking up Game 1 against Byron Wilkins. Oh, sorry, Brian.
Let's see if Owen can finish the deal here. Ooh, this is a good start. 1 with the wind. It looks like he's going to reconsider his options, though.
1 with the wind on the Branchwalker will trigger a counter on the Deep Root Champion. Send the Branchwalker to the air. Another card that I can safely say is one that we have seen a lot of today. Owen swings with the team.
Plenty lethal. As everything except for the champion down on the ground has evasion of some sort, with currently Stanley sitting there with no blockers for any of those creatures, again, with that one exception.
Like you said, Marshall, 3 evasive threats now becoming 4 with that 1 with the win from Turtenwald, leaving Pace in just an unenviable spot.
Yeah, he's going to need multiple spells to get out of this.
The hallmark interaction cards in the Merfolk deck are, of course, the bounce spells. Cards like Depths of Desire,
Yep.
Run Aground, Perilous Voyage. Double block on the champion.
And then Owen, all he has to do is pass priority here and force the issue on Stanley to see what Stanley's got. It's like Perilous Voyage there.
Perilous Voyage targeting the Merfolk Branchwalker.
That'll, of course, knock 1 with the wind off as well.
It will also get Stanley a Scry 2 if it resolves. Branchwalker will go back to Owen's hand. 1 with the wind into the graveyard. Stanley scries 2. Currently taking 3. Four.
Owen looks like he kept a River Herald's boon here to make sure that lethal still happens. He's also hedging a bit here by Looks like he's decided to put a counter on the champion. The champion also just gets a counter. Is there a pounce in hand here for Stanley? Nope.
Owen Turtenwald taking down game 1 versus Stanley Pace, giving 1 win apiece to the Peach Garden Oath. Let's check in on table B here. William Huey Jensen versus Jared Calabrese.
Wow, he is not wasting any time today, is he?
No. Those creatures are all sideways.
We're deep into game 2. As Jensen looks like you said, he's just getting his attack on here and perhaps on the verge of winning his match, depending on how this next couple of combat steps go.
So we saw some trade-offs there. A Ruthless Knave going to the graveyard. That card you see with a counter on is a Dire Fleet Interloper, which does have Menace. Dire Fleet Captain also in play, so the crew's all here.
Oh, yeah. We just need Captain Lannerty, and we'll be all good to go.
Hit the high seas. Dire Fleet Hoarder. Following things up with a Headstrong Brute and a Fathom Fleet Firebrand for Jensen.
That is a lot of heat to put up with.
Yes, it is. Passes back over to Jared, who, like you said, has his work cut out for him facing down this pirate army.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Adonto Vanguard's done good work for the aggressive decks today. On defense, it looks a lot worse. It only has the 1 power. Yeah, you can activate it, but it's not
killing anything.
Yeah, and it's not common that it's going to prevent more than the 4 life. And even if you do, you're still giving up a lot of that.
Every single card in play for Huey is a pirate as well, which will do nicely to help buff his Dire Fleet Captain. Jared says, I don't want to deal with that. Dark Nourishment will take down the captain and gain him 3 life, propping him back up to 8. Back over to Huey. Vanquish the weak on the 1/3 flyer. In comes the team. Nothing but a 1/1 back to block.
Yeah, Skyblade of the Legion was kind of the last reasonable blocker that Stanley had, and this actually is going to put him down to 1 to 2. It looks like the life totals were a little off there, but it's hard to imagine him getting out of this.
And there is the handshake. William Huey Jensen taking down the first match win for his team, the Peach Garden Oath, here in the final round of Swiss Grand Prix Providence. Let's check in on Reed Duke and Brian Wilkins.
Yeah, you can see while we were gone, Reed picked up game number 1. This has so far been a clean sweep. 4 games for PGO, 0 for the opponents.
Teolani's Knight equipped with some cobbled wings there for Brian, as well as an Exali's Diviner.
Oh yeah, it's getting late in the day.
My tongue tripped over itself there.
Oh, mine has been today too.
Pious Interdiction from Reed will gain him 2 life. Oh, he has some wings of his own. Otapec Huntmaster, ping!
Feeling frisky.
Get you for 1.
That is not a reliable long-term game plan, but you're going to take the point of damage.
The Diviner will also chip in for 1.
It's like, oh yeah? Well, you take 1 right back, buddy.
It's a nice tennis match we're watching here.
Yeah, a little rally.
Thrash of Raptors is the play from Brian, which is going to get things going here. And no dinosaur, however, in play to pump it up, so it's just going to be a 3/3 right now. Becomes a 5/3 with trample as long as you control another dinosaur.
But it just became Thrash of Pteroraptors because it flies now. Ooh.
Oh, another pious interdiction from Reed. Gains him another 2 life. Gets in for 1 with the Otepec Huntmaster. Up to 25.
Maybe I was wrong. Game plan acquired.
Is Reed playing something like 3 pious interdictions, I think?
Yeah, I think he is.
Yes, indeed, 3. One damage coming through once again will knock Reed down to 24.
This situation is actually very dire for the other team. You know, at this
Yeah, it
point,
is.
PGO needs to win a game of Magic between Owen Turtenwald and Reed Duke, and they could have up to 4 chances to do so.
I like those odds, Marshall.
Yeah, I think if I'm in Peach Garden Oath's seat, I'm starting to rub my hands together and go, who wants to draft, kiddos? Because you don't want to get ahead of yourself, right?
No.
They're going to stay focused and keep their head down, but you can't help but think up 4 games to 0, including a match, is just going to slip out of reach for the opponents here, potentially.
Otepec Huntmaster getting in for another 1 damage. Brian on 17. It looks like Reed not able to find any action.
No, he's flooding out really hard here.
Ooh, a captivating crew at the front of Brian's hand here, as well as a savage stomp in an attempt to take down that Huntmaster.
He takes on a little bit of extra risk here by putting on the Ixali's Diviner, but it's worth it because if this happens the way he wants it to, he will get the +1/+1 counter on it, which makes it much more potent flying attacker at 2 power rather than 1. That's an actual little clock there.
Okay.
Hitting in for 2 a turn. He could have taken the safer route and targeted one of the creatures under Pious Interdiction, but then he wouldn't get the benefit of that +1/+1 counter, and he decided, you know what, it's worth it, and I agree with him. Should definitely go for the counter there. Because the truth is that, yes, he got the Otepec Huntmaster off the table, but that thing's not doing much here. Like, we know that Reed doesn't have any dinosaurs in his hand. He needs to just stone cold top deck them.
Legion's Landing was the play from Duke, coming along with a 1/1 lifelinking vampire. If you manage to attack with 3 or more creatures, you get to transform it into a land that makes you more vampires for 3 mana and a tap.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Duke because Legion's Landing looks terrible here.
Yeah.
I mean, it does bring with it a 1/1, but this is one of the lowest impact plays that he could make at this stage of the game because he still needs to find multiple attackers that can actually get through. They don't have to transform the Legion's Landing, but you don't want to throw away your creatures, and then he can finally transform it, and then it's good.
Yeah.
Then he has tons of mana to just dump into it every turn, but yikes, that's going to take a while. With the number of lands that Duke has drawn here, there's not much he can do.
Brian, however, remained back on defense and has elected to just pass the turn back to Reed 2 turns in a row here. Once again, throws it over, and Reed throws it right back.
Uh-oh.
All right, finally an attack here from the Diviner. Otepec Huntmaster of his own for Brian. Suited up with some wings.
It looks just fine here.
Yeah, the problem with this Legion's Landing as well is that it's not going to do anything unless you're able to attack with 3 creatures, and it's just not what
Right.
Reed has been able to do.
Right. He's just so far off from being able to do so. And even if he gets to that point, one of his creatures is just a 1/1 and likely is just going to get gobbled up by a creature. So even though he'll be able to replace it with Adanto the First Fort, it's slow. He's a way off, Thrasher Raptors might help, though.
Thrasher Raptors here, 3/3, wearing some wings. Unfriendly Fire from Brian, targeting the Raptors.
It is a very aptly named card.
Yeah, it is. Down go the dinosaurs.
I assumed that Unfriendly Fire would do something to your creatures as well when I first read it.
Yeah, I can see that,
Right?
for sure.
Isn't that what they call that?
Well,
like Friendly Fire?
Friendly Fire is when you hit yourself.
Uh-huh.
So if it was Friendly Fire, then it would do something to your own creatures.
Oh, okay, so Unfriendly is actually just
Yeah.
blow up your stuff. So
Yeah,
it's perfect.
You just get it.
All right.
Grazing Whiptail from Brian. That's going to have something to say about those cobbled wings. 3-4 with reach for 4.
Grazing Whiptail kind of does it all. Eats plants, kills flyers.
It really does. It also dies to unfriendly fire.
That's right. Smashed it.
I do like that card quite a lot, though. It just
Which one?
Grazing Whiptail.
Yeah, me too.
Just brick walls a lot. Raptor Companion here.
You and I were talking about the format on Friday before we came in, and we're both like, Grazing Whiptail? Like, yeah, Grazing Whiptail.
Grazing Whiptail.
All right, we both like it. It must be great.
It's been so interesting to see this format play out. So new as it is. A release a weekend.
That's right.
Here at this GP.
Flying Raptor Companion.
Terrifying.
Yeah, I haven't really been super stoked on Raptor Companion as of yet.
The 1 toughness is a big liability in a format with a bunch of access to 1/1 lifelinking vampires and also dual shot. And Brian just keeps to move those wings around from Diviner to Huntmaster. Check it out. My wings can transfer.
Way, Maria, Josh in chat brings up a very strong point. Isn't unfriendly fire just fire?
Yeah, it is.
Wait a second. I knew something felt wrong.
Unfriendly fire is just doing what you set out to do.
Is there a Magic card called fire?
I don't know. Fire and ice. Oh, yeah.
Right. Of course. And that actually counts. Like as a card. Like that's an entire card.
Yeah.
So you'll never get a card that just on its own is called fire.
Sad.
Sad face.
Colossal Dreadmaw for Brian.
At least they use it on a sweet one, though.
They did. Fire and ice. Great card.
Hey, finally a good attacker here for either player. I mean, they've both just been like, yeah,
boing, boing,
ping,
boing.
ping, ping, and now it's like.
Yeah. And it has haste thanks to the Huntmaster there. Can't wait for that dino to get some wings. Nothing like a flying 6/6 trampler to ruin your day. Well, pious interdiction here from Duke. The second, or the third of his, I think it's the third of his 3 copies. The third one might be off screen up there. Tealani's Knight is the play. When it attacks, if you control a dinosaur, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Yep, sure enough, all 3 of those interdictions are in play.
Yeah, they are, and they're doing a pretty good job of just stemming the bleeding, but it's really been hard for Reed to come back from just having drawn so many lands and just effectively being behind when he's an aggressive deck.
An attack there once again with the Diviner.
Yeah, he's just been chipping in for 2, but it's really added up. Reed's down to 8.
Looks like Reed here, getting in the driver's seat, flips to Adanto the first fort because 3 creatures attacked.
That didn't work. There we go.
Raptor Companion will trade there with the Otepec Huntmaster. Tealani's Knight and the Vampire getting in.
Yeah, this is an interesting line here because Reed is trying his hardest just to leverage any advantage that he can get. And it kind of is interesting because this actually allows him to just keep blocking and actually gaining life every single turn now. So he has mitigated this board entirely. It's taken him a lot of work to do it.
Yes, it has.
A lot of interdictions, but he has done it. He actually is now stable on board. And he can just keep this process going over and over again where he just keeps on making vampires, giving them flying, blocking with them, gaining life, and just repeating.
Here's a card Brian has been holding on to for quite a long time this game. Captivating Crew.
Has he been... you said he's had it for a while?
Yes.
I guess he's just been waiting for Reed to play something big and just kill him, but Reed just hasn't drawn anything. And this really does throw a wrench in the works, especially with the amount of mana that Brian has.
So Captivating Crew is going to go ahead and steal that flying vampire from Duke, getting in for 3.
That is likely going to be the game winner if Duke doesn't have an answer for it. There are a lot of answers to it. But this is going to put Reed in a very tough situation, even with Adanto the first fort online. He may be able to do something with lifelink, though, to just mitigate it, but it's just he's going to start stealing
repeating barrage.
multiple things. He has repeating barrage.
Yeah, repeating barrage takes down the captivating crew, heads into his graveyard
baby.
with raid. It'll go right back to his hand.
That's exactly the type of card that he needed after flooding out. Now, does he have enough money for 5, 1, 2? Yes, he can get it back and still make a new vampire.
Oh, awesome.
Yes, and he also gained a couple of life off of that attack step, putting him right back up to 8. This is getting interesting now.
Brian's on 10. That was cool.
Yes, Reed has found 2 repeatable mana sinks in a game where he's flooded very badly, and he's been able to just hang on thanks to that hard removal. And this actually might work out for Reed. And if he wins this game...
That's it. They are into the top 4.
Huh. Interesting.
All right, let's see if Duke can hang on, making the most use of those 2 mana sinks, repeating barrage and Adanto the first fort, to pump out vampires and repeatedly deal 3.
Yeah, he's used his Pious Interdiction to take out some of the bigger threats on the other side. And now he just has to hope that Brian doesn't come up with anything that's out of range.
Moving the wings over to the Diviner once again. Brian passes the turn
And look
back.
who's on defense.
Wow!
Yes, I think Reed is now fully in the driver's seat here.
Makes another vampire, gets to untap.
Finds another land.
Another land. How many does he have in this deck? Come on.
And this is great for him. He actually gets to cast this. Oh, he didn't actually do it. He could have cast it pre-combat and then cast it again, because it hits players too.
Yes, it does. Reed
But it
gets
must-
in for 3.
So can he still just do that? Let's see. Cast it. It still sees raid.
Yes, it does.
So yeah, he can just do it now. Because I don't think it cares that it was in the graveyard when you got raid. I think it just checks for lack
Right.
the game state, the game. And
Does
says,
the game
"Did
say
you
I've attacked it?"
Yeah,
Yes, it
and
does.
as long as
Yeah.
that's the case, then you can just buy it back
Yep,
anyway.
there he goes. Buys it back.
And now he effectively has Brian at 1.
Wow. I cannot believe this.
And that's 3 lands in hand for Brian Wilkins. Peach Garden Oath is going to top 4 this thing, Rhea.
Passes the turn back to Duke.
Unbelievable.
This has just been an amazing comeback from Reed, who is effectively drawing nothing except 2 cards that he was able to put all of that mana into and salvage this game.
And he knows now that he's about to win.
And there it is, repeating barrage, 3 lands in hand for Brian. Peach Garden Oath, one of our top 4 teams here at Grand Prix Providence, looking to do it again. They are returning champions from Grand Prix Cleveland. They had to win out today, and they did. Handshakes all around for the other team. Looks like table 1 down there. Still playing.
You can see that there's a little, Huey reaching over and shaking the hand, but he understands. He knows how close this team just got to making the top 4 and how ridiculously difficult that is. And you could see it in his face. It isn't like a, it's like, hey, good games, good luck in the next one, that type of thing.
Terrific
Because he
run
knows
for
what
the
it's
other
like to be
team.
on the other side.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. Wonderful stuff here. Back with more Magic after these messages. Welcome back to coverage of Grand Prix Providence. Murray Bartholdi in the booth with Marshall Sutcliffe. And we are in our final round of Swiss here at this team limited tournament. We just saw Peach Garden Oath lock up a top 4 berth here at the tournament. And
again, as usual.
If you said to yourself, I wonder which team is going to make top 4 at this tournament.
Yeah, you would pick them, but still coming off of a day
No,
one.
it is still very impressive.
Yeah, you're thinking like, okay, maybe just this wasn't their tournament.
They came into day 2 7-2.
And they just ran it up. They also took a pretty cool deck building decision of all 3 aggressive decks, which, you don't see that very often in Team Sealed.
And you're going to be thinking about this, too, when you go to your Grand Prix coming up, playing some sealed tournaments, perhaps a PPTQ aggressive might be viable.
Might be a thing.
All right, let's check out our time walk match for this round down in the feature match area. Sullivan-Twardowski-Delpozzo versus Li, Yao, and Ling. We'll start in here at Table A. Sullivan versus Li. One of these teams has been paired down here in our final round of Swiss as well. This could be a win and in as well, depending on points and tiebreakers.
Draft Pod 94, Draft Pod 94. You are ready to use ready to begin. Please come to the shopper flag and push on the stage. Draft 94.
Players here drawing their opening hands.
Yeah, they sure are.
Play-by-play action at its best.
Looks like a mulligan and a keep.
Hi, Marshall.
Hi,
It's
Rich.
me,
Hi, Rich.
the king of saying nothing. I'm here to say nothing. But look, something's about to happen. It's cards on a table. Do you think Maria can take over again now that there's things happening?
I feel like Maria's probably ready to jump back
Are there not enough things happening? Because there are things happening. Look, see how another card has entered the battlefield. And look, now they've been turned sideways. And now they're being used to put another card onto the battlefield.
Rich
Is this how you do it, Maria?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Here's Maria again, everyone. I'll be back anytime you need fill of nothing.
Rich got a little rusty in his time away from the
Wow, classic fill there from Rich Hagan, everybody. Rich Hagan.
Thank you, Rich.
Rich saw the line of tapping mana to play a creature.
What does Lucas have in his lap?
A dinosaur tail, of course.
Are you sure that's not a mouth?
No.
Those aren't teeth?
I don't know. It looks like a dinosaur tail.
No, you're right.
Oh, is it? Do you know what it is? Is it
No,
like a hoodie with a tail?
I just think you're right that it's
Oh, okay.
like maybe it's a dino backpack.
Maybe he just brought his dino friend with him to play the GP.
Wish you would have put it on camera. I want to see Dino Friend. I'm interested. I'm curious. You got
Blossom.
my attention, Lucas.
Blossom dried for Lucas. New Horizons here for Will.
Yeah, that's actually a nice little attack here
Yes,
for
it
Will.
is.
Jamming for 4, no joke. This deck comes out very quickly.
Pounce, crunch.
Yeah, this is going to prevent Lucas from casting a 5-drop next turn, which is kind of what Will wants to do, is slow him down. It also keeps him off of double green, at least as the board sits.
How do you like playing a pounce like that to keep somebody off of a 5-drop versus saving it for something that you could potentially eat later in the game?
Yeah, the tough part is that, Will probably is thinking that the pounce might not be effective against a 5-drop and that he might get a whole nother attack in with his 4-powered creature. And, we've seen that these Merfolk deck, although this doesn't look like a dedicated Merfolk deck, but even any of the aggressive decks have the ability to push through a significant amount of damage into the late game. Unfriendly Fire comes to mind,
Sure.
and with New Horizons, he could splash for some stuff too.
New Horizons now on both sides of the battlefield as Lucas suits up his mountain. Nowhere to put that +1/+1 counter. The Wayfinder will be able to swing in for more damage. And speaking of damage, how about a charging Monstrosaur?
Wow. So this
9.
Yes, this is turn 4 charging Monstrosaur after keeping Lucas off of any relevant play on his 4th turn of the game, and this is the type of play that kind of feels like it just seals it up. Now, it doesn't, right? Like Lucas could have some stuff to come back, but it's a long road and he is way behind now. Charging Monstrosaur,
Oh, it is a dinosaur, look.
Oh, it is. Look at him. Well, it's a Stegosaurus. Does it block? No.
No, scoop. Scooperino there for Lucas. Picks him up. I saw a Huatli Warrior Poet in his hand, by the way.
That didn't do anything, did
Wouldn't
it?
have been enough. Will Sullivan picking up the first game win for his team. Checking in now. Table B. Twardowski versus Yao. Shipwreck Looter in play for John. Black-White for Yao. We see some pretty good aggressive cards there in the likes of Emissary of Sunrise, Adonto Vanguard, which a lot of people really like.
I like both of those a lot. The Steadfast Armasaur, also very good.
I love the design, by the way, on the Armasaur, the way that it fights with its tail,
Yeah.
like a Stegosaurus.
Yeah.
Fathom Fleet Firebrand is the play for John. Passes back to Yao. Depths of Desire as well as a Hostage Taker in hand for John as well. In comes the Vanguard as well as the Emissary of Sunrise for Yao. Emissary, of course, has first strike. Vanguard can pay 4 life to make it indestructible.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Yao's going to do here. It's a pretty easy trade-off at this point. While he's the aggressor.
Ooh, nice. Deathless Ancient is the play. 4/4 flyer that can be brought back from the dead if you tap 3 untapped vampires you control, which he doesn't have any at the moment.
No, that's unlikely to happen this game, but hey, 4/4 flyer.
I'll take it.
And especially when you look at the board state here and see how far behind John is, I got to say, these games have not been close thus far.
Yeah, John just passing the turn back over. Pious Interdiction here will remove his only blocker. Gain Yao 2 more life. And everyone gets in there. And John scoops him up. Yao taking a win for his team. Both teams 1 win apiece here in round 14. Final round of sealed deck before we get into our draft. Let's take a peek here at table C. Delpozzo versus Ling. Black-White for Delpozzo. Ling with the only permanents in play. Non-land permanents. We've got a Marauding Looter, Siren Stormtamer, and a Shipwreck Looter. Cody also on 7 life.
Yeah, this seems to be the match, or the round, I should say, where we don't have really close games. These have just been smashes by one team or the other. Because I'm pretty sure, what's the equipment down there? Is it a Pirate's Cutlass?
I'm sure it is.
So, you know, like he's going to kill him.
Yep, there we go. Untap. It is a Pirate's Cutlass indeed. And it's on a flyer. In they come for Ling. Does Delpozzo have anything to say about this? And no, he does not. Ling racks up another win for his team. Taking a look at our feature match area down there. The teams we're watching on the left.
Yeah, we're in Time Walk Magic here, so this was recorded just a little while ago. We're watching it for the first time, though.
Yes.
Live for us. What do you think Huey and Reed were saying?
I know, I was just wondering
He's like,
that.
hey, we're going to win and we're going to top 4. He's like, yeah, I know. Let's just play it out.
Let's just
though.
play it out.
Yeah.
Though. We got this,
Make
buddy.
it, make
we
it,
got
make
this.
it look good.
Hey, your hair looks great. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, thanks. I know.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Lots of shampoo today.
I'm sure that was it.
Yeah.
Word for word.
Yeah. You'll always be my B player.
Aww. Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
Are you saying that to me, Marshall?
To you.
Oh.
We're sitting next to each other just like the players
Marshall,
do.
you'll always be my C player.
Yeah, and we don't have an A.
No,
but-
we don't.
Wait, I know who A is.
Who?
Chat. Chat's our A player.
Oh, wow, Marshall
Yeah.
with the hardcore pandering to chat there.
They're the only other ones around. It's not Rashad. He's gone.
No, Rashad abandoned us. Kenji's down there drafting, I don't know what, some nonsense, no doubt.
Yeah. Oh, but while we're waiting, we have a hard-hitting question from our table, from our player A.
Okay, player A, what do you got?
What do we think the dino is named? The Stegosaurus that we see at the table there.
Great question.
There he is. Ralph?
Ralph is a good name.
Ralph?
Ralph. I already named one dinosaur in this set, Gregory, and you know what? I feel like I've done my work.
Chad is smart, man. They say we see right through the pandering, but that doesn't mean it's not working.
Yeah,
Wink and a gun. Love you, buddy.
it usually does its job.
I was being genuine, I'll have you know.
Oh yeah, chat's great.
I like every single member of our chat right now with the exception of 3 people.
Ooh,
I will
which
not
three?
name
Which
them.
3?
I will not name them. They
You
know
don't wanna
who they
start
are.
anything?
They know who they are.
Commune with dinosaurs, finding probably the best dinosaur you could ever find, Carnage Tyrant. There
Yeah.
for Will Sullivan.
Though it's a little awkward that we're doing a turn 1 commune and it's like, yeah, we'll see you in a while. You know?
Yeah.
We got at least 5 more turns to go here.
Lee passing the turn back, yeah. It's not going to be something you want to see anyway. To know that that's in your future. Uncounterable. Trample. 7/6. Ooh. 3 mana here for Lee. Death Gorge Scavenger.
Okay.
Card that can gain you some life or get +1/+1.
Yeah, it didn't this time. And he didn't exile, though, right? What is it, not a May? It has to be a May, right?
I think it is a May. Whenever Death Gorge Scavenger enters the battlefield or attacks, you may exile target card from a graveyard. If a creature card is exiled this way, you gain 2 life. If a non-creature card is exiled this way, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn.
Yeah, it's just kind of strange because, this attack is going to happen, so you'd probably be better off just leaving it in the graveyard and then exiling it now. As it turns out, he got a counter on it from New Horizons, and it won't punish him here. As Will decided to block anyway with Ranging Raptors.
Two creatures in play currently for Lee. No pressure here yet from Will. That's been able to stick.
Yeah, Ralph the Dinosaur doing good work here. And Will Sullivan really, he's got the ball in his court. He needs to come up with some action here. He's got some good mana development thanks to the Ranging Raptors. And look, he's
How
got
about
his
my own? My own Death Gorge Scavenger, thank you very much.
And this makes sense. This is the one that you want to use when you enter the battlefield, is to gobble up a creature and gain 2 life. Now, Lee, no choice there. Did
No.
not have that option. But again, I think you want to wait and exile it when you attack.
Fire Cannon Blast in hand, it looks like for Lee. I think I saw a Raging Swordtooth peeking in there as well. Burning Sun's Avatar, it looks like. There is the blast on the Death Gorge Scavenger, sending it to the graveyard, enabling Lee to keep the pressure on here and continue scavenging from that graveyard. to gain another 2 life. Lee passes back over to Sullivan. Forest is the draw.
Lee now perhaps strategically keeping the non-creature spell in graveyard here for a potential attack step. Though they could have got in an extra point of damage last turn.
Carnage Tyrant is now in play for Sullivan, so...
That is a problem.
And Lee knew that was coming.
Okay, well, must have something.
Exiles the Fire Cannon Blast.
Yeah, 4, 5, 6. So that is going to enable 1 clean attack through the Tyrant. Unless, of course, Will wants to trade, which feels unlikely.
Throws it back. Carnage Tyrant, definitely one of the best cards in the game. Somebody I wished I'd seen in my pre-release pool.
I'm curious to see if Will has some type of interaction, and that's why he didn't want to block to start with.
Sure.
You know, the problem is that effectively speak. What are you seeing?
I think he has a skin shifter in his hand.
Oh no!
But I don't know.
Although that's actually kind of interesting, isn't it? I think he actually might have a. Is it snapping sailback?
Yeah.
Hey, there's one there too. I think there's actually one on the other side of the battlefield.
Oh, okay.
We'll see in a moment here, won't we? No, it's a pounce. I'm sorry.
Pounce.
Pounce, though, is what Will wants to leave up, because Lucas is representing a combat trick, right?
Right.
Just jammed in with 5 power into the 6 toughness creature and just said, what do you want to do about it? But since Will was tapped out, he's like, yeah, I'll just take it this time, but next time I'm not going to. And that usually does signal that he's got something.
It would be pretty fun to see essentially 2 Carnage Tyrants attacking.
It would be. Unfortunately, Will finds himself firmly on the defense, looking to leverage this pounce now with whatever Lucas comes up with as far as combat tricks go. And Lucas really has to have a combat trick.
Yeah, swinging with the team here. Carnage Tyrant jumping in front of that Death Gorge Scavenger. There is a sure strike on the snapping sailback, +3/+0 in first strike. Which, of course, first strike doesn't matter for a fight. And here
That's
it is,
right.
Pounce. Sailback will hit the graveyard. Carnage Tyrant
Wow.
dies. The Merfolk Branchwalker able to get in. Sullivan will drop 2-7. Result from table B, Yao has picked up a game there.
So that was kind of interesting, because when the dust settled on that, Will does have the ability to stabilize this board with any kind of medium or large creature, but really needs it in order to do so.
Blossom Dryad here is the play.
That's fine. That means lethal's up.
Sullivan on 4. Raptor Hatchling.
If he does have that skin shifter, he just needs to play it. I mean, yes, it's a terrible blocker, but blocking when you're at 4 is something that you're pretty happy to be able to do.
There it is.
Wah, wah.
Oh, not looking so good right now.
No, though it does, again, you know, you got to take what you got to take from every card you can get at this point. And this looks like a pretty easy attack here for Lucas. Though, depending on what's in hand, may want to play something pre-combat. 5 mana.
Card I've loved in draft, by the way, Raptor Hatchling.
Yeah, solid little card.
You just sometimes you're sitting down, staring across from that 1/1, and you say to yourself, "I don't want to attack."
No, that happens
That's
a
crazy.
fair bit. It also like jumps in on double blocks or something and makes your opponent's life a little more difficult. And then, of course, if you do enrage it, you end up getting a 3/3 trampler out of the deal. Oh!
Smash.
Burning Sun's avatar, you're dead.
Will Sullivan scoops him up. Lee tying things up there at table A, 1 game apiece.
Yeah, Lucas took a few minutes to figure that out, but that was in fact lethal, leaving Will at just 1 life and only 1 blocker against 2 creatures.
So Team Sullivan-Twardowski and Delpozzo certainly has their work cut out for them. Only 1 game win for their team so far. Checking in here on table B, Twardowski versus Yao. Lightning Rig crew in play as well as a marauding looter for John. Versus some black-white vampires. On the other side of the table, they've got some good ones. Anointed Deacon.
Okay, there's a Legion's Landing.
Legion's Landing, a card we've seen get some people back from very, very far behind, notably
yeah.
Reed Duke.
Yeah, Legion's Landing, otherwise known as Reed Duke's new favorite card.
Comes in with a 1/1 life-linking vampire creature token. Looks like John might have a response. Nope, it's fine. See a run aground there in John's hand. We'll send the Anointed Deacon back to the top of Yao's library.
Of course, that was at the end of Yao's end step. Make sure that Anointed Deacon doesn't get to trigger.
There's a flip.
Yeah, right away we're going to transform into Adanto the First Fort.
And Adanto's Vanguard in play. Nice.
Flavor. And this is a good spot for that first fort. You know, not a lot of great blockers for John. 0 powered blocker, as well as a pretty good one with 4/3, but now Yao can just start pumping out these 1/1s at the clip of 1 per turn, and they actually look like they're going to do some good work.
Yeah, especially once that Anointed Deacon comes back into play. Just an all-star with a card like the First Fort, because giving +2/+0 at the beginning of combat to a life-linking vampire that you can just repeatedly make more of is very strong.
It really is. They tend to trade off much more often. The life gain of 3 is much more relevant than the life gain of 1, and like you said, they're expendable. You're just like,
Yeah.
get in there.
Get in there, buddy.
You died. Oh,
See
well,
you later.
yeah, there's another one.
Or not. Lightning Rig crew will tap to deal 1, signifying a pirate in the future, potentially, for John. Oh, is it attacking? All right.
Raid
Raid.
o'clock, yeah.
I love the attack with the Lightning Rig crew.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer, though, because even though it did survive with only 4 power on the other side, Yao did get to gain 4 life off of that, too.
Yeah.
You know, and while that isn't really primary to John's game plan at the moment, it's just like, this is not getting better.
There's that raid trigger. That cost fairly dearly. Although I think he picked up a hostage taker.
Ooh, that would be nice.
Yeah, of course, drawing that Anointed Deacon. Puts it right back into play, targeting the Adanto Vanguard,
Yeah.
who will smash.
Good play, because that's the one creature that with the +2/+0 can actually get by the Lightning Rig crew. Looks like John was trying to check, hey, are you going to have another vampire? And the answer right now is no. No, it does cost 2 and a white, and you have to tap the first fort, so no, sir.
There, the Lightning Rig crew is pinging Yao for 1.
Oh, yeah, that's like taste it. You're not getting out of this turn above 28. Okay, fine. Take 1.
Oh. Yeah, Twardowski on 10 life. Delpozzo able to tie things up on table C there against Ling, 1 game apiece. Looking a little better for our team on the left.
Yeah, this is a much closer match than the last one that we watched with Peach Garden Oath, where they really just kind of smashed.
Savage Stomp. It's not in play, but that's what it was.
Savage indeed.
Hostage taker here, stealing that anointed deacon. John will be able to cast it next turn if the hostage taker stays around.
Draft 96. Your event is ready to begin. Please come to the genre.
He's got a Depth of Desire in his hand. But it looks like he wants to keep it for defensive purposes, maybe to save his creature in case it were to die.
The Vanguard just keeps chipping in. Yeah, with plenty of life to work with to give that.
Why is the Lightning Rig crew tapped? He tapped it, but then he cast a pirate afterwards, right? He cast the hostage taker.
Yeah.
He must have forgotten. That's really awkward. Because that's a perfectly good block for the Odonto Vanguard, and you just give away three damage there. Yowza.
Skymarch Bloodletter here for Yao will drain another point from John Twardowski's life total. Swamp is the draw, so just a Swamp and Depth of Desire in hand for John. Yao now has the mana to make another vampire. We're going to see a cast here of the Anointed Deacon.
I'm kind of mad that he actually had the double black.
Yeah, like...
or any black mana, I should say.
Yeah. It would be more fun.
It's really I would have left those untapped just to show off.
You know what would have been funny if we came into this match right now at this point and we, like, say the hostage taker wasn't on the battlefield or something, and we were like,
wow,
why on earth is he playing that anointed deacon? He has no vampires.
No vampires at all. He's got some serious problems here now, though. I think what his game plan is going to be is to use his Depth of Desire to just bounce his own hostage taker and then play it so that he can get rid of the Skymarch Bloodletter.
Yeah.
Because that is the one card that actually can get through at this point. And, this is starting to get very, very close because he took an extra 3 damage on that turn when he forgot to untap the Lightning Rig crew. And now the Vampires deck is kind of doing what the Vampires deck does. It's chipping in for 2 in the air. It's a drain off of the Bloodletter. And now look at the board state that he's got. He's pumping out a Vampire every turn. And if John's life total gets a little too low, we may see Yao just go, yep, tech with everything.
March of the Drowned was the draw there for John, which at this point in the game is usually very good.
Oh, yeah, that's a bomb for sure. But he really does need to deal first and foremost with the Skymarch Bloodletter. So if he doesn't have any other way to do it off of March of the Drowned, he's going to want to kick things off with Hostage Taker.
And there it is, hostage take 3. Hostage Taker hits the
Cut.
table.
What do they say? Print it?
Print it.
Yeah.
Skymarch Bloodletter hits play for John.
Oh, interesting. Chat's actually saying that he didn't take the 3. He just chump blocked. Yes, I see the Fathom Fleet Firebrand down in the graveyard.
Yeah, he did that at one point.
Thank you, chat. Still, the point stands that these small edges start to matter against the Vampires deck that looks to just kind of scrape at you,
slowly.
Yeah, and having an extra blocker, can matter, right? That's the kind of thing that you can look back and be like, when a game gets down to 1 or 2 life, can certainly matter.
Yao on 21, John on 8. All right, so we've just gotten an update here about what's going down at the GP, and we are inching closer to the time for our top 4 team draft. So what's going to happen is we are going to cut this short. We're not going to be able to see the end of it, but good news, we're going to be able to watch some sweet team draft action. An update here, the team on the right, Li, Yao, and Ling, does go on to win this match. All right, we'll be back with team draft here from Grand Prix Providence.